For parents raising kids in the digital age, knowledge of the ever-evolving threats online can help you protect them.
That's why we want to talk about a group on the FBI's radar that has targeted players of games you might be familiar with, such as Minecraft and Roblox.
We do want to warn you, what we're going to talk about is disturbing, but experts say parents knowing about the problem can help lead to solutions.
We'll get to those solutions in a moment, but first we want to dig into what the Anti-Defamation League calls Gore forums or Gore groups, specifically a group called 764.
Yeah, according to the ADL, it's a decentralized global network of online communities that glorifies violence and exploits children, particularly girls who face mental health struggles.
Experts say those associated with the group, who are sometimes minors themselves, lure children from gaming platforms and social media to a private space, typically messaging apps such as Discord or Telegram.
From there, investigators say members groom victims over time and often pressure them to engage in increasingly extreme behaviors to test their loyalty to their abuser by coercing them to send images or video of sexually explicit behavior, self-harm, or other illegal and violent content, such as killing family pets.
The FBI says this extreme online activity has already victimized children as young as 9 years old.
Yeah, some law enforcement at the local level say they're also encountering cases involving Gore groups.
Reporter Adrian Thomas explains how one department in a Portland, Oregon suburb discovered what investigators there call a disturbing crime.
In this case, it did take a dark turn very quickly. The content was, to me, disturbing. I was shocked as a law enforcement investigator. And for me to be shocked, I mean, I see a lot of things.
Sergeant Brandon Clausen of the Lake Oswego Police Department experienced a career first while working as a detective. He was contacted by the FBI in Portland to help investigate an alleged sex abuse crime happening in Lake Oswego, but the suspect was more than 3,000 miles away. According to federal court documents, the victim, a 14-year-old girl in Lake Oswego, had met a man in his early 20s in Florida using Instagram. Clausen and his colleagues quickly discovered a pattern of manipulation and solicitation of sexually explicit material from the man over messaging and social media apps like Discord, X, and Telegram. Clausen and the FBI would quickly find out the man was engaging in behavior consistent with Gore groups, something Clausen hadn't seen before.
That was the first one, to be honest, yeah. I'd never heard of it, never even would have considered that would be something that people would be into or be doing. A Gore group is a group that not only grooms victims, but delights in sexual violence, sexual torture, sexual rape, murder. It shocks the conscience.
Just days after the initial investigation, the FBI got permission from the victim's parents to pose as her on the different messaging platforms to determine where the man might be and gather more evidence. And in just a few days, the FBI was able to trace an IP address to a residence where 24-year-old Juan Sebastian Perez lived in Naples, Florida. That's where agents executed a search warrant.
He admitted to everything. He was even working on grooming other girls, unfortunately. He was part of, like you mentioned, a Gore group.
FBI Portland's special agent in charge, Doug Olson, says these kind of crimes are being seen more frequently, and that people and groups involved often use less monitored platforms like encrypted messaging apps.
What's the prevalence of some of these kinds of cases in Oregon and the jurisdiction that you cover?
It's here. I mean, it's definitely here. I know of 2 cases that have been fully adjudicated and then 4 active cases that we're working on right now. That doesn't mean we are a hotspot for this type of activity. It just means we're not free of that type of activity.
In March 2025, a judge sentenced Perez to 30 years in federal prison after he pled guilty to charges related to child sexual abuse and child pornography. In Portland, Oregon, I'm Adrian Thomas.
Again, the purpose of talking about this isn't to scare parents, but to inform them.
Yeah, so we want to get into the strategies on how to protect your child.
First, experts say it's okay to acknowledge this is uncharted territory for many of us parents.
We grew up playing outside until it was dark and not having access to cell phones, learning to drive without a cell phone, being able to be connected with our friends through social media. So it is scary because we don't know, we don't understand what's happening, but it is important to pay close attention to it.
Parents are encouraged to set content time limits and to routinely check privacy settings on their kids' social media accounts. But most importantly, you should talk with your kids about their internet use and the risks early on and often.
Always encourage teenagers to certainly don't be afraid to talk to your peers about it, but also to report to an adult.